Ever wondered what might have happened if the course of World War II had taken a different turn? Picture this, a global conflict so intense, it forever changed the landscape of our planet. This was World War II, an event that left indelible marks, not just on the terrain, but also on the collective conscience of humanity. Its tremors were felt far and wide, from the bustling cities of Europe to the serene landscapes of Asia, even reaching the distant shores of Africa and the Americas. Major powers like the United States, the Soviet Union, Great Britain, and Japan, along with an array of other nations, found themselves embroiled in a conflict of unprecedented scale. The political climate was as volatile as a powder keg, with alliances forged and broken, leaders rising and falling, and ideologies clashing in a tumultuous dance of power. Now let's take a moment to ponder. Now imagine a world where this catastrophic event never took place. Would we be living in a different world today? The embers of conflict were stoked long before the first shots were fired. In the aftermath of the Great War, the world sought peace, yet inadvertently sowed the seeds of another, even more devastating conflict. Central to this was the Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, which sought to hold Germany accountable for the war. However, its punitive measures crippled the German economy and fostered intense resentment among the population. Meanwhile, the world saw the rise of aggressive political ideologies. In Italy, Benito Mussolini established the first fascist regime, promising to restore Italy to its former glory. His aggressive policies and expansionist ambitions signaled a shift in the global political landscape. In Germany, the National Socialist German Workers' Party, guided by Adolf Hitler, capitalized on public discontent. Hitler's charismatic speeches resonated with the disgruntled population, and by 1933, he was appointed chancellor. Under his leadership, Germany began to rearm in direct violation of the Treaty of Versailles and embarked on a path of aggressive expansion. The flashpoint came in 1939 when Germany invaded Poland. Hitler had signed a non-aggression pact with the Soviet Union, effectively dividing Eastern Europe into spheres of influence. This invasion marked a clear and undeniable act of aggression, a blatant disregard for international law. Britain and France, having appeased Hitler's previous territorial demands in the hope of avoiding war, were left with no choice. They declared war on Germany, marking the beginning of the Second World War. The world watched with bated breath as the chessboard of international relations was upended, alliances shifted, and nations braced themselves for the storm that was about to break. The stage was set, the players in position, and the world braced for a conflict of unprecedented scale. The embers of discontent had been fanned into a raging inferno that would consume the globe, leaving no corner untouched by the horrors of war. The build-up to the war was a complex interplay of politics, ideology, and ambition, a dangerous dance that set the stage for the most devastating conflict in human history. The tide of war is a fickle mistress, turning in favor of one side and then the other. This statement rings true, especially when we delve into the major battles and turning points of World War II. Let's start with the Battle of Britain, the first major campaign to be fought entirely by air forces. This was a pivotal moment in the war. Fought over the skies of Britain in the summer and autumn of 1940, it was the first time the Nazi war machine had been halted. The Luftwaffe, Germany's feared air force, aimed to gain air superiority over the Royal Air Force, but they were unsuccessful. The resilience of the British forces and the determination of its people marked a significant turning point in the war, proving that Hitler's forces were not invincible. Next, we turn our attention to Operation Barbarossa, the German invasion of the Soviet Union. Launched in June 1941, this was the largest military operation in history in both manpower and casualties. The initial success of the Germans was staggering, capturing millions of Soviet soldiers. However, the brutal Russian winter, coupled with fierce Soviet resistance, turned the tide against the German forces. This marked a significant turning point, as the vast human and material resources of the Soviet Union were now fully engaged against the Axis powers. Then, across the Atlantic, the attack on Pearl Harbor, a surprise military strike by the Imperial Japanese Navy Air Service against the United States Naval Base in Hawaii. This event, in December 1941, thrust the U.S. headlong into the war, marking a significant shift in the balance of power. Our next stop is the Battle of Stalingrad, one of the deadliest battles in history. Fought during the harsh Russian winter of 1942–43, it resulted in catastrophic losses for the German army and marked a turning point in the war. The Red Army's successful defense of the city and subsequent encirclement and destruction of the German Sixth Army dealt a significant blow to Germany's military strength and morale. Finally, let's not forget the D-Day invasion. On June 6, 1944, the largest seaborne invasion in history took place. Allied forces stormed the beaches of Normandy and France, piercing Hitler's Atlantic Wall. This opened a new front against the Germans and marked the beginning of the end for the Third Reich. In the grand tapestry of World War II, these battles stand out as major threads, each one dramatically shifting the balance of the war. The Battle of Britain halted the seemingly unstoppable German advance. Operation Barbarossa brought the Soviet Union fully into the fray. Pearl Harbor drew in the United States. The Battle of Stalingrad weakened the German army, and the D-Day invasion signaled the beginning of the end for Hitler's Germany. Each battle, each decision, shifted the balance, shaping the world we know today. The end of the war was just the beginning of a new world order. The final phase of World War II saw the forces of the Allies advancing into Germany and the Pacific. The Allied forces, determined and resolute, pressed on into the heartland of the enemy. Germany was the first to fall. The relentless onslaught of the Allies from both the East and the West proved too much for the beleaguered nation. The German resistance crumbled, and the once mighty Third Reich was reduced to mere fragments. Meanwhile, in the Pacific, the war raged on. Finally, in an attempt to bring a swift end to the conflict and to save countless lives that would have been lost in a land invasion, 2 atomic bombs were dropped on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The devastation was unimaginable, the human cost unbearable. The world had entered the nuclear age, not with a whisper, but with a bang that reverberated across the globe. In the aftermath of the war, the world was a changed place. The devastation wrought by the conflict necessitated a new way of thinking, a new approach to international relations. Thus, the United Nations was established. Created with the aim of preventing future global conflicts, the United Nations represented a glimmer of hope amidst the ruins of a world torn apart by war. But the peace was not to last. The ideological differences between the victorious powers soon came to the fore, giving birth to a new conflict, the Cold War. The world was divided into 2 camps, the capitalist West led by the United States, and the communist East led by the Soviet Union. The events of World War II and its aftermath have left an indelible mark on the history of mankind. The lessons learned, the horrors witnessed, and the triumphs celebrated continue to shape the world in which we live today. The echoes of World War II still resonate today, influencing geopolitics and shaping our modern world. World War II, a testament to human resilience and a stark reminder of the devastating cost of conflict. This global confrontation, spanning 6 years from 1939 to 1945, is a pivotal chapter in our collective human story. It brought out the best and worst in humanity, a paradox of valor and horror that still echoes in our world today. As we reflect on the war, we must remember the staggering human cost. An estimated 70 million lives were lost, a number so vast it's almost incomprehensible. These were not just soldiers, but civilians caught in the crossfire, innocent lives snuffed out in the name of ideologies and territorial ambitions. Each life lost was a unique story, a universe of potential extinguished, a reminder of the price we pay when diplomacy fails and war takes over. Yet, amidst the tragedy, there was also progress. World War II spurred advancements in technology, medicine, and industry. It gave birth to the digital age, with the development of the first programmable computers. It led to breakthroughs in medicine, with the mass production of antibiotics like penicillin. It revolutionized industry, with the widespread adoption of assembly line production and the creation of the military-industrial complex. But these advancements came at a high price. We must never forget that. The echoes of World War II still resonate today. It shaped the world we live in, from the geopolitical landscape to the international institutions we have in place. It serves as a constant reminder of the destructive potential of warfare and the importance of peace. Remembering this history is crucial. It is only by understanding the lessons from World War II that we can avoid repeating the same mistakes. We must strive to resolve conflicts through dialogue and negotiation, not through violence and war. We must promote understanding and tolerance rather than division and hatred. We must remember, learn, and ensure that such a catastrophe is never repeated. For it is in understanding our past that we can better shape our future.